Here we go. It's showtime with the case of Alston versus Holmes hitting the courtroom floor. Ms. Alston strides in, claiming Mr. Holmes might be her biological dad instead of the man whose name's been chilling on her birth certificate all these years, Mr. Alston. Mr. Holmes is shaking his head, totally not buying it, betting all his chips that the DNA test will shout, "Not the father." This courtroom drama is just getting started.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Alston versus Holmes.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
Good day.
Ms. Alston, you've come to court to prove to the defendant, Mr. Holmes, whom you first met at the age of 15, that you are his biological daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Alston drops a bombshell right out of the gate. She brings us back to her teenage years at 15, telling us a story about how she grew up with Mr. Alston's name on her birth certificate, believing he was her real dad, all while Mr. Alston was out there signing checks for child support. Strap in, folks. It looks like we're in for a wild ride through family drama lane.
You say her biological father is David Alston, the man who is on her birth certificate and paid child support for her. Ms. Alston, tell us how you first found out the defendant might be your father.
Well, Mr. Alston and my mom were married, so as a child.
Mr. Holmes jumps into the fray with some spicy details about his fleeting flings back in the day, casting major doubts about his role in this parental plot twist. He tells a tale of casual encounters and forgotten follow-ups, suggesting he was more of a cameo in Ms. Alston's mom's life than a main character. Buckle up, because this paternity puzzle is only getting more tangled.
He was like fast. And because I met her at the school bus stop. She was in high school. 2 days later, after I met her, I had sex with her. I called her again a couple days later, asked her to come back, and we had sex again. So it was kind of like a booty call. Yeah, I didn't know nothing about her until 15 years later.
Ms. Alston lays her heart on the line, sharing how she felt ditched by Mr. Alston despite the legal documents declaring him dad. On the flip side, she talks about how Mr. Holmes' family welcomed her with open arms, doubts or no doubts. There's enough emotional baggage here to fill a cargo plane, and we're just starting to unpack.
What was your relationship like with Mr. Alston? Explain that.
Your Honor, I hate to say this, but I hate him. I do, because he abandoned me and left me.
So when you say Mr. Alston abandoned you, did you try to have a relationship with him and he rejected you? How did he abandon you?
I tried to have a relationship with him and spend time with him. He wouldn't have time for me. I would visit his family members and he wouldn't be around.
Enter Mr. David Alston, the man on the birth certificate, looking as shocked as a cat in a bathtub. He's been in the dad zone for years, totally clueless that there's been any question about his paternity. Oh boy, this is getting juicier by the minute. Don't touch that dial.
I think it's time we meet Mr. Alston. Jerome, will you please escort him in? This is the man on your birth certificate?
Yes.
And you tried to have a relationship with him?
Yes, I just wanted to be loved.
Thank you for joining us today. I'd like to have you explain to the court. She was told for the first 15 years of her life that you were her biological father, and then all of a sudden she was given another name. What do you know about it?
15 years ago? No, I just found out now.
So you're saying that up until recently, you still considered her your daughter?
Yes, that's my daughter.
Hold your horses, folks, because the DNA results are in. Drum roll, please.
Mr. Alston, you are not Miss Alston's
Get
father.
Why is she doing that?
Lord Hammers.
The courtroom buzzes into action as the judge firmly instructs everyone to sit down. The episode kicks off with the judge calling the court to order and greeting everyone warmly. The case Luce vs. Zuniga is announced, involving a somewhat quirky dispute over childcare expenses. Just when you think you've seen it all, this case comes along.
Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello, Jerome.
This is the case of Luce versus Zuniga.
Thank you. Good day, everyone. Ms. Luce, you are suing the defendant for $2,716.86 back child care expenses for your son, Marley.
There's a definite spark in the air as Ms. Luce takes the stand. The plaintiff, Ms. Luce, confidently claims she is owed $2,116.86 for back child care expenses by Mr. Zuniga, the defendant. She asserts, without a shadow of a doubt, that Mr. Zuniga is the father of her son, Marley, and firmly dismisses the need for a paternity test. Brace yourself, because Mr. Zuniga's comeback is a doozy.
You're certain he is your baby's father?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Zuniga, you say you don't owe her a dime because you're not her son's father. You've petitioned the court for a lie detector test and a paternity test because not only are you not his father, but you claim to know who his real daddy is.
Hold on to your hats, folks. Mr. Zuniga counters Ms. Luce's allegations with a bombshell, vehemently denying paternity. He demands both a lie detector test and a paternity test, claiming he knows who the real father is and is certain it isn't him. It's about to get even spicier in this courtroom drama.
The court will reveal the results of the lie detector test and determine if a paternity test test should be ordered. Why do you feel like Mr. Zuniga has completely abandoned you and your son?
For the first 4 months of my son's life, he was there. He stepped up. He was a man. He wanted to be his father. He was excited about everything.
Cue the emotional music. Ms. Luce recounts how Mr. Zuniga initially stepped up as Marley's father and supported her, only to abandon them later. She details the financial burdens she faced alone, covering every need from diapers to clothes, making it sound like a one-woman army on a shopping spree. Stick around. The plot thickens.
He abandoned us. I had to take care of my son alone, on my own. I had for every little bit of the expenses, all the diapers, all the wipes, every single piece of clothing he needed. I have the receipts here. I've had to do it all alone, and I feel as if he owes me at least half of the money that I've had to put into raising my child alone.
As Mr. Zuniga tells his side, things take a turn for the melodramatic. He admits to initially showering Ms. Luce and Marley with his tax refund, but claims he stopped due to doubts about his paternity. Ms. Luce acknowledges his contributions, but emphasizes that they were short-lived and insufficient. The courtroom is simmering with anticipation for what's next.
Have you helped at all with Marley?
Yeah.
Any money, any financial support?
Well, yeah, I did. At first, I spent all my tax money. Last year, I got substantial amount, and I spent every dime on him. I didn't spend one dime on myself.
Ms. Luce, true, has he given any money?
He might have put money into a crib. He might have put money into the little things he needed then, but he didn't do anything else after that.
Mr. Zuniga dishes out some serious drama. He voices his doubts about being the father based on Ms. Luce's past relationships and his own tragic medical history, suggesting his sporting injuries might have left him sterile. The courtroom is hanging on every word, wondering where this telenovela will twist next.
Well, I found out that she never really stayed in relationships long, and that she liked to jump from guy to guy.
Ms. Luce, were you sleeping with other men when you were sleeping with Mr. Zuniga?
No, I did sleep with a few men after, but I was only sleeping with him when we were together.
Okay,
But that's
Mr. Zuniga,
not
do
the
you have
matter
any
at
other
hand.
children?
No, ma'am. I've always thought I was sterile. Putting the long relationships aside and trying to have, kids with them and consulting doctors. Sports, I've had a lot of sports-related injuries.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more dramatic, Mr. Zuniga accuses Ms. Luce of cheating, specifically with a man who apparently matches their son's physical traits. This allegation, based on neighborhood gossip and his eagle-eyed observations, really stirs the pot. Watch out for the audience's reaction. It's priceless.
That thing's probably still broke right now.
Oh, so you believe she was going over to this other gentleman's house
Not
and he
only
wasn't
do
a
I
brother
believe
figure,
that.
he was really...
There's this one instance where this lady came up to me and she told me that while I was with her, she was cheating on me the whole time with her husband. And he looks just like the father, red hair and blue eyes.
The judge chimes in with a reality check, questioning the wisdom of their fleeting and unprotected liaison. Ms. Luce is gently scolded for potentially living up to her last name, hinting at a reputation she might not want to acknowledge. The audience is all ears, eagerly awaiting the next twist in this saga.
As far as I know, she could have been pregnant before I even got with her.
Why are you young people running around having unprotected sex with people you knew for 2 weeks? Miss Luce, you worrying me now. Because, no, you're a beautiful young girl, and I don't want you living up to your last name. So, Miss Luce, you brought a witness today. Who did you bring?
His mother.
Jerome?
In a surprising twist of events, Mr. Zuniga's mother, Ms. Vertigan, takes the stand and sides with Ms. Luce. She testifies against her own son, supporting Ms. Luce's claims with observations about family resemblances and shared medical histories. This family feud just got a guest star, and she's not holding back.
Your Honor, I didn't want him sleeping with nobody.
She told me herself that she was that age.
She
to
didn't
be a
even
grandmother.
speak to me and found out I
I
was
wouldn't even
pregnant
speak
because
to
she
her.
thought I was just a fling.
Because my son goes through women like toilet paper. I did not want to speak to her. But Your Honor, if you look at those pictures, their eyes look so much alike and they have the same features, the dark circles. My grandson was born with jaundice.
I came
My
out with
son
a
has a
full
muscle
head of hair.
spasm in his eye.
Brown hair.
My grandson
brown
has a
eyes.
muscle
I look just
spasm in
like
his
my
eye.
father.
A pivotal photo is displayed, showing Mr. Zuniga holding the baby, a stark contradiction to his claims of non-involvement. This visual evidence sparks a heartfelt discussion about the emotional stakes involved. The audience can't help but lean in as the emotional roller coaster climbs.
And
So
the
if you signed the birth certificate, that I would presume that you thought it looked like you.
babies don't look like nobody when they're born.
We have in the monitor a picture of you holding the baby.
Well, I'm not a jerk, Your Honor. I didn't have a dad.
You agreed to give him your last
Your
name.
Honor,
Yeah.
I didn't
need
give
to
him
say
my last
Yes.
name.
This
She
is
did that
important.
without my
Hold on.
consent.
Yes,
this is
Ms.
important.
Vertigan, what you need to
He
say.
was so upset we couldn't make it. He was mad. He was throwing things around in the house. He was upset we couldn't leave right then and there to watch his son be born because his dad wasn't there.
Buckle up for the lie detector results. The lie detector test suggests Ms. Luce was not entirely truthful about her exclusivity with Mr. Zuniga during their relationship. This bombshell leads the judge to order a paternity test to conclusively settle this soap opera. The courtroom holds its breath for the grand reveal.
Has been determined by this court, Mr. Zuniga, you are his father.
Oh, thank you, Jesus. Grandson, you say you're sorry. You need to tell you're sorry. Look, it is. Maybe that's yours.
But you lied.
Okay, but look,
I may
all right,
have
we're
lied
getting over
compared
that.
to
We're getting
whatever
over
test
that.
says it. He is your son.
The courtroom buzzes with suspense as the case of Stanley versus Williams is announced. Everyone's settling in, Jerome's on point as usual, and the courtroom rituals kick off.
You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Stanley versus Williams.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone.
Ms. Stanley drops a courtroom bombshell, claiming Mr. Williams is definitely not the father of her son, Ryan Alexander. Despite their past fling, she's betting all her chips that today's paternity results will back her up. Everyone's leaning in, wondering if the DNA will spill the tea.
Miss Stanley, you have dragged your former fling, Mr. Williams, to court for a paternity test. Prove he did not father your 3-year-old son, Ryan Alexander. You admit to being intimate at the time of conception, but say today's results prove your son does not have DNA.
Mr. Williams fires back with passion, arguing that little Ryan Alexander means the world to him. He throws shade, suggesting Ms. Stanley is just trying to edge him out because there's a new guy on her scene. The courtroom's heating up with these spicy allegations.
You say baby Ryan Alexander is the most important person in your life and claim the only reason Miss Stanley is doubting that Ryan Alexander is your son is because she has a new man in her life and doesn't want you around. Is that true?
That's correct.
Here's where the plot thickens. Was it love or just a fling? The air gets tense as the nature of their relationship is dissected. Mr. Williams thought wedding bells were in their future, while Ms. Stanley labels the whole thing a colossal error. Eyes are popping as the story unfolds.
This was more like sexual type kind of relationship.
Loser relationship.
I never loved him. It was a mistake.
Your Honor, excuse me. She's wrong with that one. She's a liar.
What? How did you see the relationship, Mr. Williams?
Had us planned out getting married. She had us planned out get the cake. She had us planned out get I was taking her kids back and forth to school almost every day. I've done everything for her and them kids.
Enter the evidence. Done, done, done. Mr. Williams' Aunt Mary steps up with some juicy texts about marriage plans, which Ms. Stanley swears she never sent. It's a he said, she said showdown, and the courtroom is here for it.
Jerome, will you hand me that
This
proof?
here is where she was texting me off of Facebook, asked me if I was Chris's aunt, and that they were going to get married, and she wanted me to do the wedding because I am a community chap. And I told her, yeah, and she asked me how much would I charge. I told her nothing because it's my nephew, wanting somebody to try to use.
So this is a message, a text message
Yes.
from Miss Stanley?
Yes, ma'am.
Chaos erupts, voices are raised, and the judge has to hammer down for some order. Aunt Mary isn't just here to watch. She's got photos claiming Mr. Williams and Ryan are practically twins. Grab your popcorn, folks. It's getting wild.
I don't care.
If that was his son,
just like him out, but
Understand you raised him as your son, and you're here today, and everyone is going to get an opportunity to present their case. Ms. Combs, you did say that at some point Ms. Stanley told you he was the father of Ryan Alexander. Is that true?
she's always told me since the boy was born that it was his. There was not a question that he belonged to somebody else.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more tangled, another message surfaces. Ms. Stanley allegedly praising Mr. Williams as a fab dad. She's calling foul, suggesting some Facebook foul play. The plot thickened, the courtroom riveted.
And so this is another message you say Miss Stanley sent you. He is really good with my kids, and Ryan loves his daddy. Miss Stanley, did you send this message?
Your Honor, I did not, because he had access to my cell phone.
That didn't come from cell phone, baby doll. It came from the messages that you sent me on Facebook.
Exactly, access to my Facebook, which is downloaded on my phone.
Mrs. Stanley admits to the hookup timeline with Mr. Williams, right around the baby-making window, but sticks to her guns about him not being the daddy. The layers of their relationship, or lack thereof, are peeled back, leaving the crowd buzzing.
You understand that,
Yes,
right?
He could be a potential father, but I do not think he is the father of my child.
So you're with the other man. How do you end up with Mr. Williams?
We met at my cousin's place. We were living in a trailer where Mr. Williams would come and visit with me. At that time, that's when I conceived Ryan Alex, is when me and my ex was split up.
Mr. Williams shares his side of the birth story, missing out because no one called him about the emergency C-section. It's a sob story that has the audience whispering. Will this sway sympathy his way?
No, ma'am, I wasn't, because for one, she wouldn't even call me to let me know she was having an emergency C-section at the hospital. I didn't know nothing about it the next day.
It's kind of hard to let you know anything, Mr. Williams, whenever I was put under sedation.
Let's not argue. Let's just get the facts. Did you not inform him on purpose?
I did.
You did. And why didn't you want him there?
Because I did not want him there because he is very disrespectful. He cusses me in front of my children.
It's confession time. Mrs. Stanley thinks the other guy is the real dad because, well, they were more of an item. The judge is all ears, and so is everyone else. This paternity puzzle just keeps building.
Do you think he's the father?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Why do you believe that?
Because I had slept with him more than I slept with Mr. Williams.
You're a liar. You're a straight low-down liar.
You feel like this man has a greater probability of being the father because you slept with him more often?
Yes, Your Honor.
Plot twist with a dash of heart. Mr. Jennings, the current beau, steps into the spotlight, ready to dad up regardless of the DNA. He's been playing dad for 2 years, and he's not stepping down now, no matter what the test says. The courtroom nods in approval.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Williams, you are not his father.
The courtroom is buzzing with anticipation as everyone takes their seats. The court session kicks off with the judge, fondly known as Your Honor, briskly calling the session to order and warmly welcoming everyone, including the somewhat bemused defendant, Jerome. They're diving into the intriguing case of Clary versus Asinato. Oh, the drama that awaits.
Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello, Jerome.
This is the case of Clary versus Asinato.
Thank you. Good day, everyone.
Ms. Clary strides confidently to the podium, her heels clicking on the courtroom floor. She's ready to throw down the legal gauntlet, petitioning the court for a paternity test to nail down Mr. Asinato as the father of her son Gage, who apparently has a shopping list of medical needs. She's also here to claim a cool $15,000 in back child support. Buckle up, this is about to get as spicy as a courtroom drama can get.
You are petitioning the court for a paternity test to prove to the defendant that he is the father of your son Gage, who has multiple medical needs. You say Mr. Asinato owes you $5,000 in child support, and you demand he pays you what he owes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Enter Mr. Asinato, who looks like he's ready for a showdown at the OK Corral rather than a courtroom. He firmly disputes any responsibility for payments, vehemently claiming there's no proof he's the father, and boldly announces he's armed with bombshell evidence to prove his point. He's planning to hit back with a legal vengeance and get that $15,000 child support claim wiped clean. The plot thickens, and you won't believe what's coming next.
You say there's no reason to pay any money for a child that you know is not yours, and claim to have bombshell evidence to prove that you're not the father. You state that when you return home, you'll go back to court to have the $15,000 you owe erased from your record.
The judge, keeping the courtroom in check, dives straight into the gritty details. She grills Mr. Asinato about his daring move to sign the birth certificate, which pretty much pins him down as the dad in the eyes of the law. He explains with a mix of regret and disbelief that he was tricked into signing it under the impression that Gage was his mini-me. Oh, the intrigue. And just when you think it's all clear, the twists keep coming.
No way that I owe $15,000 on a child that's not
He
mine.
signed the birth certificate.
She's basically roped me into signing a birth certificate for a child that she told me that was mine and has taken me to court for child support. I've paid almost $15,000 in child support.
So you admit you do owe the child support?
Not on a child that it's not mine. No, ma'am.
As they unravel their tangled history, it turns out Ms. Clary and Mr. Asinato weren't just neighbors, but got quite cozy while both were on a break from their respective spouses. They kicked off their complicated love saga under the same roof, with divorce papers still warm from the printer. This backstory is more tangled than last year's Christmas lights, and there's more drama around the corner.
Tell me about the first night you all were intimate. How did this relationship begin?
We were hanging out next door. We were all friends, drinking, having, watching movies, and everybody left except for me, and one thing kind of led to another. He made a pass at me, and...
So you began a sexual relationship?
Correct.
How long did it continue before you found out you were pregnant?
That was in 2007. My son was born in 2011.
Oh, 4 years?
Exactly.
So you all were living next door to one another for 4 years?
No, ma'am. That's when we first met.
Ms. Clary sets the record straight about her living situation when Gage entered the world, countering Mr. Asinato's claim that they weren't shacking up when Gage was conceived. It seems their timelines are as mismatched as socks from a dryer. Hold on to your hats. The revelations are just heating up.
Well, she said that when her son was born, she was living with you. That was right.
Yes, ma'am.
So what you're saying is when her son was conceived, she was not living
No,
with you.
ma'am,
But
she
I
was not.
spent-
You don't
At his
know
house.
if she was sleeping with someone else or
I
not.
do know for a fact that she was with somebody else.
Oh, what do you know?
I know Crystal. Crystal was married when she came to my house on the first night.
But you
slept
know,
with
Your
me.
Honor, gentleman he's talking about, while we were not together, I was dating somebody else, and we split up 2 months prior to me getting pregnant with my son.
Just when you think you've heard it all, their relationship status gets even murkier amidst a fiery scary exchange. It's revealed that their so-called fling stretched over 8 tumultuous years. Mr. Asinato paints it as a casual affair, while Ms. Clary insists it was anything but casual. This romantic roller coaster has more loops than a theme park ride, and the next dip is a doozy.
Your Honor, we've never been together. It's just
But yeah, we
basically
got
a
8
fling.
years together. We lived together multiple times.
So wait, let's get to the birth. I want to get.
Yes,
He was
ma'am.
at
You
the
say
hospital.
after found out she was pregnant, you wanted to do the right thing.
I did.
You had her move in.
Yes, ma'am.
When Gage was born, you were living together.
Yes, ma'am.
So
She moved into my house.
did you go to doctor's appointments? Did you
No, he
support
did
her
not,
through
Your
this?
Honor.
Did you go to the hospital when Gage was
He
born?
was.
I did.
He was at the hospital when the baby was. My son was 5 weeks premature and 7'5".
Mr. Asinato pulls out his financial receipts, showing off his child support payments like they're badges of honor, except for those pesky 8 months he was jobless. He laments the financial strain, likening his payments to those of an A-list celebrity rather than an oil field worker. The financial saga is just part of this wild raid, so strap in as the money matters get even messier.
He paid
Jerome,
it
will
when
you
it's
please pass me
convenient
Mr.
for him, Your Honor.
Asinato? What is
Now
this
we can
evidence
tie back up
pertaining
This is
to?
all my payments that I've made except for the 8 months that I've been out of work. The first
First 4
year
months.
I was at my job working in the oil field, it was $1,026 a month for one child.
Your Honor,
I'm not
I was
an NBA
paid-
player.
I was paid
I'm not a movie star.
123.
Anyways, regardless of that, she's
Because
always
he
making
quit his job.
accusations that I'm a deadbeat. I don't pay
He
my
is a
child support
deadbeat.
payments.
The last
That you
6
can
months,
see, I've
because
made
I got
all
it
my
tied back
payments
up in
except
court.
for
The
that
last
first
year, I
8
got it
months.
back.
Now, the court takes a sudden detour into medical territory. Mr. Asinato throws a curveball by questioning the paternity based on Gage's slew of health issues, which seem alien to his family's robust gene pool. This medical mystery adds an unexpected layer to the paternity puzzle. And guess what? It gets even more complicated.
When did your doubt set in and why?
Gage had a lot of medical problems when he was a baby. He had colic, he had ear infections, he had multiple. He had
2
ear
weeks in the
infections.
hospital. Mr. Asinato never once showed it. He called maybe twice the 2 weeks.
I have a 20-year-old son. My son's never been sick. My son was born at 9 pounds, 8 ounces, okay? This child was
My
born
son-
at 6 pounds. My
son
son's
was
never
5
been sick.
weeks
We don't have
premature and
any of these
7'5".
sicknesses in my family.
Things take a scholarly turn as thalassemia, a genetic condition affecting Gage, takes center stage. This rare condition common in people of Mediterranean descent, hint, hint, Mr. Asinato, thickens the plot. This genetic cliffhanger is setting us up for a revelation that might just rewrite the entire script.
Your son has a medical issue that he deals with called
Thalassemia. It's an inherited, it's a genetic blood disorder, and it comes from people of the Mediterranean.
You brought evidence to explain that, Jerome? Please hand that to me.
Todd is full-blooded
What
Italian.
evidence is that? She prints it up off of online?
And this is what I do.
Thalassemia.
We're all of a sudden, my son's not his. When we're getting along, he loves his son. That's his son. Along, or the child support.
Not
That's the
denying-
whole
no.
issue.
Evidence says that thalassemia is an inherited
Yes, Your Honor.
blood disorder.
In a modern twist, Ms. Clary pulls out a smartphone app to prove genetic resemblance, claiming it shows Gage as a chip off the old block, Mr. Asinato. He scoffs at the digital evidence as if it's a badly photoshopped meme. But don't put your phones away yet. This techno drama is dialing up to a climax you won't want to miss.
My son
Okay.
looks just like me.
Last December,
and,
I took-
last I checked, I was his mother. See, that's my how can you not love that baby? A friend of mine sent me an app to try it. Shows you the comparison, how much Gage looked like Todd whenever he.
What is this app?
You pull up the parents, it does a comparison, and it shows he looks like he has so much.
So you submit photos, you put them in this app, and then the app will calculate the percentage of likeness. This one determined that Gage looks 68.3%.
Of me.
As emotions surge, the true victim here, little Gage, is caught in the crossfire of this adult drama. Ms. Clary tearfully argues that the ongoing dispute is shredding her son's sense of family and security. It's a heart-tugger, folks, and just when you think it's all about the adults, it's the kid who might just teach them all a lesson.
Regardless, Your Honor, this is what's
The
to the
only
point
thing
of
is
this.
our son is the one that's suffering. The only reason I agreed to this is because my son is 4. Now he wants to do this because of child support.
I don't want to do this because of child support. I want to
It's
do
all.
this because of
But
medical.
you know, he weighs 40. My son is 4. My son knows him. That's his daddy. Gage knows him as his daddy.
And this is really upsetting to you because you feel that it's about money. And
Yes, Your Honor.
You don't believe it's about Gage.
Yes, Your Honor, exactly.
As the legal eagle lands, the judge lays down the law about the consequences of signing a birth certificate. It's not just a piece of paper, it's a lifetime subscription to parenthood, complete with monthly payments. The courtroom is thick with anticipation as we gear up for the grand finale.
When it comes to 4-year-old Gage Asinato, Mr. Asinato, you are not his father.
I did not sleep with anyone else. I slept with somebody 2 months prior.
Miss Clary, you had me convinced.
Your Honor, it was 2 months before.
We say in this courtroom, plaintiffs lie, defendants lie, but the DNA doesn't lie. It doesn't.
In the case of Foster versus Fields, both parties exchange formal hellos with the judge and get comfy in their respective corners of the courtroom. Brace yourselves, it's going to be a bumpy ride.
Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Foster versus Fields.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone.
All right, here comes the heartbreaker. Ms. Foster steps up with a major request. She's gunning for a DNA test to confirm that Mr. Fields is the father of her daughter, Sienna, a little trooper born battling some serious health issues. She's not just here for drama, she's here for the overdue child support from Mr. Fields, who seems to have ghosted on his responsibilities. Buckle up as emotions are about to fly off the handle.
Ms. Foster, you've petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove that the defendant fathered your 17-month-old daughter, Sienna, a beautiful little girl born with extreme medical needs. You've dragged him to court, order he pay the support he's been neglecting.
Wait, there's a curveball coming. Mr. Fields stands his ground with a bold 100% guarantee that he's not the father, claiming the timeline of Ms. Foster's pregnancy doesn't match up with their brief encounter. He's confident, and he's got proof, or so he says. Stay tuned, because Ms. Foster is about to serve up a response.
You say you're 100% certain that you are not her child's father because she was pregnant before you met. Claim to have proof to support your case.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Foster, tell me about Sienna and what exactly has Mr. Fields done for her?
Tensions are high and the stakes even higher. Ms. Foster lays it out plain and simple. Mr. Fields has done the bare minimum, contributing a whopping 3 onesies and 2 pairs of socks to Sienna's cause, despite her complex medical needs and surgeries. You might want to grab some popcorn because the courtroom drama is just heating up.
She's having some development problems, so we're just having follow-ups in Syracuse with all the rest of her doctors.
And there's just been no support.
He came to the hospital probably about 4 times, but when he was there, it was just have relations with me.
No, I think that's a lie, Your Honor. I think that's a lie.
This part is a doozy. The discussion takes a sharp turn as they dive into the details of their personal relationship, with Mr. Fields disputing the paternity based on their timeline and Ms. Foster's previous sexual experiences. Accusations fly, and the truth seems murkier than ever. You won't believe what's coming next. This plot is thickening by the minute.
Shania proclaimed to be a virgin. Came and see me about the 31st of May that month.
What happened the first night?
She came to my house, you understand. She had bought some new shorts. I was trying to be respectable, and I asked her, do you want to go in the bathroom? She tells me no. Take off her pants right there in front of me. I'm still sitting in the bedroom. One thing led to another.
This is the first day you met her.
First day I seen her.
Oh, the twists and turns. Amidst a wave of laughter and disbelief from the audience, Ms. Foster tries to explain the concept of being practically a virgin, which just baffles everyone, including the judge. The courtroom turns into a mix of confusion and comedy. Keep watching. This roller coaster is nowhere near stopping.
I thought she was a virgin?
She was not a virgin, Your Honor. I had multiple stories of her telling me how many dudes she done, slept with and all that. Girl was not a virgin.
Miss Foster, you were saying you were a virgin at that time. Were you?
I was practically. Before him, there was some
Was
other guy.
practically?
There was
How
some
can you
other
be
guy.
practically a
There was
virgin?
some other guy
That's
before him, and I
impossible.
don't count that as a partner.
You said practically a virgin.
Yeah.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more tangled, we pivot to Ms. Foster's relentless attempts to reach Mr. Fields via his family, highlighting a saga of missed connections and alleged obsessions. Mr. Fields claims harassment. Ms. Foster claims desperation. What unfolds next is guaranteed to drop some jaws.
She's texting your wife trying to get in touch with you.
I never texted his wife. I have never known of her until 3 days ago.
Let's get some order. You're saying Ms. Foster texting your brother and your mother. Why is this out of the ordinary if she believes you're her child's father? Of course she would try to get in touch with you. You think she's trying to get in touch with you because she wants to be with you?
No. Listen, I'm married. I'm really happy married. You
Where's the
understand?
ring?
What it is
Where's the ring?
Unraveling the web of words. The court scrutinizes a Facebook message allegedly from Mr. Fields that's all lovey-dovey, which he outright denies sending. Is it a case of hacked accounts or hidden affections? The suspense is real, folks, and the truth is about to come out under the courtroom lights.
Now, this is not going to last her.
Where that's coming
this
from?
This is temporary.
What is this?
A Facebook message.
A Facebook message that says, I still have love for you that will never change. I wish we would have had a longer relationship.
I haven't had
this
a Facebook.
Is from Mr.
I have
Fields?
not had a Facebook in 6 months.
You're saying you didn't write this post?
Listen, I didn't write it. I don't get on Facebook. I don't
so
own a
bad.
Facebook.
This is a whole front right now. I swear to God, I'm telling you, Jake Paul knows I'm that woman. If I wanted him, I can have him.
Couldn't.
Get ready for the emotional whirlwind. The spotlight shifts back to the birth of Sienna, with Ms. Foster detailing the emotional and physical absence of Mr. Fields during crucial moments, despite his claims of being present. The judge is getting to the heart of the matter, and what she uncovers next will make your jaw drop.
Did you ever have sex with Ms. Foster without protection?
And I would admit that I'm a real person.
I have protection, Your Honor. This girl said she was on the Depo.
Never.
The Depo shot is birth control. Approximately 99% effect from not getting pregnant.
I don't know what he's talking about, but I have not became on the Depo and I haven't even dealt with him since January into last month.
Were you
And he was
sick?
there at the hospital,
Your
too.
birthday, you thought the baby was
there at the
here?
hospital.
So, Mr. Fields, you came to the hospital for the birth.
Can you feel the tension? The judge digs deeper, challenging Mr. Fields on his fluctuating involvement and the reasons behind his sudden cold shoulder post-birth, uncovering layers of personal conflict and life changes that might just explain a lot. The verdict is just around the corner, and it's going to be a game changer.
Mr. Fields, you're saying you don't believe you are Sienna's father.
Nope.
But you've been present
I was.
for so much of the pregnancy. Even in the beginning, her birth, you decided to just leave the entire situation alone and turn your back.
Because it wasn't left up to me. That's the reason why.
So it would have been your choice to stay
I mean,
and
I was
to
thinking-
support the child.
Yeah, I would have did what I had to do for the baby, but it wasn't left up to me. So I mean, like I said,
Hold your breath for the big reveal. The results are in.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Fields, you are her father.
take care of my child.
Jerome steps up with his usual flair, introducing the case to the judge, greeting her with a smooth "Hello, Your Honor," and smoothly presents the parties involved. Strap in. This is going to be a wild ride.
Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Benskin versus Haskett.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Benskin.
Oh, snap. Did that just happen? Judge Lake grabs the reins, addressing the courtroom with authority while acknowledging the tangled web of accusations involving paternity disputes and child support drama. Get your popcorn ready, because this is just the beginning.
You have opened your case today because you say the defendant refuses to accept that 4-year-old daughter, Kinsley, is biologically his. You are here to prove he is her father before he gets locked up for unpaid child support. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Hold on to your hats, folks. Ms. Benskin lays it out, claiming Mr. Haskett owes a boatload in back child support, and paints a picture of his job instability and a past filled with the not-so-glamorous confines of a jail cell. What Mr. Haskett has to say next might just surprise you.
You are here with your girlfriend and claim the plaintiff is a money-hungry liar. You don't believe you fathered her daughter and plan to prove that in court today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Things are definitely heating up. Mr. Haskett takes the floor, admitting he hasn't been the financial pillar of support for the child, blaming the sporadic nature of his employment for the lack of automatic deductions. But wait, there's more. He's got an explanation that might just twist things further.
You have not been supporting the child?
No, Your Honor.
You have not.
No.
No, let me explain that. All right, whenever he has a job, it does get taken out of his check automatically. She has received money. It's not like she hasn't got anything.
Didn't see that coming, did you? The court dives into a sea of confusion and miscommunication about missed court dates and foggy responsibilities, shedding light on Mr. Haskett's uphill battle with the legal dates. Hang tight, because the courtroom drama intensifies from here.
He rescheduled it.
I wrote him on Facebook 2 days prior and the day before and the morning of, telling him, and I talked to his family member to let them know that he was supposed to be there. Well, he's not here, so we can't tell him. Okay, well, he doesn't show up, that's his fault. That's not mine.
So after a series of rescheduling of the court date, you missed the court date and were named the father by default.
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
So now that you're named the father by default, you are now responsible legally for child support for this child.
Yes.
Are you kidding me right now? Mr. Haskett discusses his short stint in jail and continues to express his doubts about being the father. Despite the looming shadow of legal obligations, this segment is a roller coaster, and the next turn is even crazier.
So were you arrested for failure to pay child support?
No, I had to turn myself in for failure to appear.
But now you are behind in the child support, and you could go back to jail again for failure to pay child support, but you still don't believe you're the child's biological father.
No.
And to this day, Kinsley is 4 years old. You have never had a DNA test.
No.
You can't make this stuff up. Ms. Benskin and Mr. Haskett recount the casual nature of their relationship, filled with a few hangouts and a party or two. Just when you think you've heard it all, the story takes another twist that's hard to believe.
One of my exes is friends with him. We've known each other for a long time. He had wrote me on social media, asked me to come hang out. We hung out a couple times. We went to a party.
So you went to a party. What was the nature of the relationship in your estimation, Mr. Haskett?
Friendship.
Just a friend.
Yes.
Not you trying to start a relationship.
It started out to be something different, but...
And Margaret came back into the picture and he wanted to be back with her, which I understand. They have a daughter together, but doesn't mean he has to push my daughter off to the side.
This is where it gets real. Mr. Haskett confirms the risky business of their unprotected encounters, directly leading to the paternity question at hand. Fasten your seatbelt. The revelations are just getting started.
You were having sex with her, am I correct?
Yes.
You were not using protection?
No.
All right, so now we're on the same page that we can make a baby with a paternity issue. So, had sex without protection. How long did this relationship go on?
Months.
How long was it in your estimation?
Probably maybe a month to 2 months at the max, and she'd
More than 1 month is months. So now, why did you all end this sexual relationship?
Because he got back with Margaret.
Okay.
Whoa, what's this now? The plot thickens as they discuss the possibility of other partners during the conception period, which Ms. Benskin denies. But don't relax yet. The following exchange turns up the heat even more.
So was he the only guy you were having sex with at the time?
Yes, Your Honor.
No.
I had an ex-boyfriend prior to this, but it was a month or two before I even started talking to Brandon.
In a heated moment, Mr. Haskett throws a curveball, accusing Ms. Benskin of involvement with other men during their time together, which she adamantly denies. The tension is palpable, and what comes next might just set the courtroom on fire.
You're just sitting there as a friend.
Yes.
Did you ever just ask this guy, are you sleeping with Ms. Benskin?
Yes, he did. He told me he was.
And he said yes?
Yes.
But you say this is a lie, Ms. Benson?
Yes, it is. And the guy he's referring to is one of my good friends. He didn't have a way to work. I gave him a ride to work in my car.
That was
And
his
if
car.
there was sexual intercourse with this other, why would I ask you to go with me to pick him up at his work?
He sees a guy get out, kiss you, and say, love you, I love you.
That never happened.
You thought it was dramatic already. Hold my gavel. The presentation of text message evidence leads to fiery exchanges and a whirlwind of complications concerning the paternity question. Brace yourself. The judge's revelation is up next.
And then, Ms. Scott, you say, where's the paper?
There wasn't no court date.
Wait a minute, Ms. Benskin, you just testified that you never ever had a question or an issue with any other man being the biological.
And I did.
So what is this text about?
They made me mad and I didn't want Kinsley to be hit. I just made up some story so they would leave me alone. I just wanted to prove Brandon, and that's what I'm here for today.
So you lied here, which if you lied here, that means you lied in court.
Talk about a game changer. Judge Lake drops the bombshell DNA results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Haskett, you are the father.
Now how to, so we get
And
to
I
see
still
her,
don't
right?
see- Yeah, I told you guys. You guys went for visitation.
Without you.
Listen, listen.
That can be
Listen. We've gotten the answer. Now, as we go forward, we have to do so in a responsible way.
Ms. Robinson explains her reason for appearing in court. She wants a DNA test to prove to Mr. Parker that he is the father of her 23-month-old daughter, Tenela, in an effort to save their relationship. Just watch what happens next.
Ms. Robinson, you're here desperately trying to save your relationship. You've petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove to the defendant, Mr. Parker, that he is the father of your 23-month-old daughter, Tenela.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Parker, you put your wedding on hold because you're positive you are not father.
The tension is palpable as Mr. Parker expresses his doubts about being the father. He has put their wedding on hold and is adamant that he is not the father, largely because Ms. Robinson hid the pregnancy from him initially. What follows might just surprise you.
Not only did Ms. Robinson hide the pregnancy, she didn't tell you about Tenela until she was 5 months old. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Parker, today's results pretty much determine everything.
Yes, Your Honor, it does.
You won't believe what's revealed next. A significant revelation is made when Ms. Robinson admits that during the time she was pregnant, she was also involved with another man, which Mr. Parker was unaware of. The plot thickens in the following moments.
He didn't know around the time that I have pregnant that I was seeing someone else. That's where the possibility come from that Tenela might not be his.
And you say he didn't know?
No, ma'am.
I do know. Yes, I do. You cheated on me. I sat there and saw you with another guy holding hands at a park.
Okay, but when you see me, why didn't you say nothing to me then?
Because why did you cheat?
When she was
why
5
did you
months
cheat?
and I came to you and I told you that she might be yours.
Here's a twist no one saw coming. A critical moment occurs when Mr. Parker recalls seeing Ms. Robinson with another man at a park, which led him to suspect that she might be pregnant. His suspicion wasn't confirmed then, and he moved on with his life. Keep watching, it's about to get even more intense.
And I saw her holding hands and hugged up with some other guy. At first, I saw that I suspect that she might have been pregnant, so I did a little hand gesture. I was like, "Hey, are you pregnant?" So she said no. Things started to come back around. She came to my house. I asked her, I was so shocked at her. I was like, "Hey, how you doing today? You know, I seen a long time ago." And all of a sudden, it was a baby there. So I'm like, "Who's this baby of yours?" You know, and she was like, "This your child." And I said, "What? My child? What do you mean, my child?" She said, "Yeah, this your baby."
This revelation is quite shocking. Ms. Robinson recounts her initial confusion during her pregnancy, mistakenly believing she was suffering from pancreatitis until she was confirmed to be 4 months pregnant at a later hospital visit. Things are about to escalate even further.
So by second or third time that I went to the emergency room, they confirmed that I was 4 months pregnant.
Didn't call.
So when you first found out did you contact Mr. Parker at all?
During my pregnancy, Your Honor, no, I have not.
Were you with anybody else during that time?
Yes, Your Honor, I was.
The one he saw you holding hands with?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you tell that guy you were pregnant?
When I confirmed my pregnancy, Your Honor, yes, I have told him. Did not inform Mr. Parker that I was pregnant.
Hold on, because this changes everything. A dramatic turn happens when it's revealed that the other man, not Mr. Parker, was present at Tanila's birth and signed the birth certificate, which shocks Mr. Parker. The emotional fallout from this is a must-see.
Who was at the hospital then when Tanila was born?
Me and the other guy had came just at one time.
I could have been there. If that's my
so
baby,
the other
I could have been
guy
there
came to the hospital?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did the other guy sign the birth certificate?
Yes, Your Honor.
What? Are you serious?
I didn't know how to tell you.
Are you serious? A birth certificate?
Yes.
God, that's probably not be his child sign a birth certificate, and that could be my baby?
Yes.
This part is truly heart-wrenching. The court hears about the emotional impact on Mr. Parker, who expresses how much he loves Tanila and has stepped up as a father figure, despite the uncertainty of his paternity. Watch how this unfolds. It's deeply moving.
I feel sorry like you feel sorry.
Okay then, so what you expect me to do? This is my baby. I'm gonna sit here and take care of her.
But what you do when I did tell you that she was? What you do?
I stepped up. I became
a
man. My dad raised me. He told me about responsibility, and that's what I did. I took my role as a man and became a man.
Once she came to you when Tanila was 5 months old,
my whole life changed. I mean, Your Honor, I was like
happy.
I was happy. You're right. I was excited. You know, I felt like I was on heaven.
As we approach the climax, the tension is undeniable. The moment of truth arrives as Judge Lake prepares to reveal the results of the DNA test. The tension in the courtroom is palpable as everyone awaits the verdict on Mr. Parker's paternity. What comes next is absolutely critical.
I'm ready for the results. Jerome? Were prepared by DNA Diagnostic, and they read as follows. In the case of Robinson versus Park pertaining to 23-month-old Tanila.
Prepare for an emotional roller coaster. The DNA results reveal that.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Parker, you are not Tanila's father.
Oh my God. Woo! I'm sorry.
Sin!
I'm sorry.
Like a whole year wasted, man.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
The court session kicks off with the drama-packed case of Watson versus Mahoney. Jerome, the court clerk, sets the stage, announcing the case with a flourish that promises an intriguing session ahead.
Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
The case of Watson versus Mahoney.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Mr. Watson.
Mr. Watson steps up to the plate, claiming he's not the dad of Ms. Mahoney's 4-year-old firecracker, Kevin. He argues that while he was off on an adventure, Ms. Mahoney might have been playing more than just solitaire, suggesting one of the other players could be the kiddo's real dad.
You are in court to prove that you are not the biological father of the defendant's 4-year-old son, Kevin. You say that while you were away, Ms. Mahoney was having sexual relationships with 2 different men, and either of them could be the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Mahoney fires back with confidence, insisting Mr. Watson is 99.9999% certainly Kevin's father, and flatly denies any side escapades. She's standing her ground like a superhero, cape and all, against Mr. Watson's doubts.
You say you are 99.999% sure that Mr. Watson is the father and deny his accusations of infidelity. Is that correct?
Your Honor.
So, Mr. Watson, you say today's results will determine the future of your relationship.
Here comes the bombshell. Mr. Watson labels Ms. Mahoney the neighborhood hoe, causing the audience to gasp like they're watching a horror movie. The judge quickly steps in, steering the ship back to more PG-rated waters, suggesting a lighter term, promiscuous.
When I was away, when I came back, she was cheating, and she has a bad reputation of being basically, as I'm gonna say it, the neighborhood hoe.
Okay, we're gonna try to use respectful language, but let's say she had a reputation of being very promiscuous.
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Mr. Watson paints a picture of his grand return to find not one, but 2 mystery men treating Ms. Mahoney like she won the lottery. Ms. Mahoney explains these guys were just family friends turned emergency financial advisors, helping her keep the lights on and fridge stocked.
She had 2 men staying with her, and they were showering her with gifts and taking care of her. Now, me as a man personally, I'm not gonna do that for no woman.
Being a man, though, you should have left.
I never left.
Ms. Mahoney, did you have 2 men living with you?
Yes, ma'am. I had no job. I had nothing to fend for myself. They were close family friends. They just wanted to help me help them.
Tension escalates when it's revealed one of the supposed roomies confessed to a fling with Ms. Mahoney. She denies the claims, but Mr. Watson's face tells a story of a man who feels like he's in the middle of a bad soap opera plot twist.
Are you sleeping with?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
And what was his response?
He said yes.
There's been many girls doing it to the same. We have a problem where there's lots of people that were in our life trying to split us up.
So he said he was having sex with Ms. Mahoney?
Yes.
You confronted her about that?
Yes, multiple times.
Our family is on the line, and I just hope we have.
So why would that other guy say he's the father? He
There's
always
a difference
says,
between a
that's
father
my
and a
son.
dad.
That's
Just
my
to know
son.
that.
Court's in session with a Facebook twist as Ms. Mahoney's DNA test post claims.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Watson, you are the father.
See? I love you so much.
Love you.
Mr. Milford spills the beans about his military past and the radiation that supposedly zapped his fatherly potential. He stands there in the courtroom, looking like he's about to crack, explaining how his time with air defense artillery left him shooting blanks. He seems really torn up as he details how this twist of fate has thrown a wrench in his life. You won't believe what happens next.
Mr. Milford, you don't believe Mr. Johnson is your son. Your claim is that you perform police actions with air defense artillery while in the Army, which exposed you to radiation, making it impossible for you to have more children. So, Ms. Johnson, what has Mr. Milford done for your son?
This is about to get even more intense. Ms. Johnson steps up to the plate, throwing curveballs at Mr. Milford about their baby drama. She's all like, it's a baby, not a belly bump. Despite their cozy nights, Ms. Johnson is visibly miffed, tossing her hands up in the air over his tumor theory, calling out his ludicrous denial with a mix of frustration and disbelief. Just wait for the emotional twist ahead.
He kept asking me, was I pregnant? But he said, I told him it was a tumor. But why are you asking me if I'm pregnant if you think I have a tumor?
Because I figure you lied.
So when he asked you, what did you say?
At first I told him no, but then I told him yes, I was pregnant.
Why did you tell him no?
Because I was scared. I already had 2 children. I didn't want to be pregnant again.
This testimony is heartbreaking. Here comes Curious Johnson, dropping a truth bomb about the whole daddy debacle that's got his life spinning like a datum soap opera. He lays it all out about his identity crisis, how it's been nothing short of a roller coaster, with more downs than ups, and the courtroom is dead silent, totally buying into his tearjerker of a tale. The tension only builds from here.
The way you came to my house,
I still have 2 children.
how did I get pregnant with
Kimon?
Kimanda if I didn't want sleeping with you? You came to my house.
Sleeping with me then.
Johnson, Mr. Milford, I want to hear from Kiera. Mr. Johnson, I feel for you sitting here. I mean, listening to this go back and forth. You've been hearing this all your life. This has been the confusion you've lived in for 26 years.
Yes, Your Honor.
The plot thickens here. Mr. Milford isn't giving up. He's on a mission, hitting up the DNA test center, not once, not twice, but 3 times to prove he's not the daddy. But guess what? Ms. Johnson isn't playing ball, dodging the test like it's dodgeball day in gym class, which only adds more spice to this already sizzling saga. Hold on, the revelations are about to escalate.
So I went down to the DNA place. She didn't show up. This the
It
third
never
time.
happened.
The
When did
third
that happen?
time.
When did that happen?
The third time she showed up with the kid and got to arguing with the DNA people. And
That never happened.
And they ran out the door.
When I lived in the county, I was in another relationship.
Wait a minute. You went to try to submit for a DNA test
I
3
did
times.
submit 3 times.
Everyone in the courtroom is on edge. Enter Ms. Chavella Jones, the sideline spectator with a front row seat to the family feud. She's throwing shade like it's sunny, hinting that Mr. Milford might not be the father after all, based on her sneak peeks at Ms. Johnson's little black book. She's got the inside scoop and isn't afraid to dish it out. Things are about to get even more dramatic.
At this time, the court would like to call an independent witness, Ms. Chavella Jones. Jerome, would you please escort her into the courtroom?
Bring you up to the witness stand right there.
Ms. Jones, welcome. Thank you for being here. What do you know about this situation? How are you related?
I had a baby by him first. I dated him all the way through school. I don't understand how they even went there.
Because Ms. Johnson is...
my first cousin.
Is your first cousin.
Correct.
No one was ready for what the judge had to say. The judge takes the stage, schooling Mr. Milford and Ms. Johnson on how their messy love saga has been nothing short of a circus, with tricks and treats that have left young Keary's caught in the crossfire. She's laying down the law, pointing out every irresponsible juggle and misstep in their act. The next moment is a game changer.
And see, I fought you. It's your fault. It really is. Because you're 8 years older
I
than
hadn't seen her
her.
in 7
She was a child.
6,
you
7
had
years.
no business.
All you want,
I want you to say
was a sugar daddy.
You didn't
You could have had anything.
I wouldn't sleep with you, so you wouldn't do nothing for
No,
the kids.
no, you
said
started.
it point
Mr.
blank.
Milford and Miss Johnson, this could go on forever. I keep giving you all a little leeway to see if maybe we could get somewhere.
The courtroom holds its breath, and boom, the DNA results are in. The judge drops the mic.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Milford, you are not his father.
That's wow.
Ms. Crowley steps up to the plate in a courtroom drama, pitching her request for a DNA test to determine the paternity of her 2-year-old son, Dior. She's pointing the finger at Mr. Houston as the dad. Thanks to a very specific night, they apparently didn't just watch Netflix. She's super sure about the date, basically betting the farm that he's the father. Just watch how Mr. Houston reacts to this.
Ms. Crowley, you have petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove that the defendant is the father of your 2-year-old son, Dior. You claim to remember the exact night you conceived, and therefore, he is your child's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Houston, you say you are certain that you are not not her child's father and claim to have to support your case.
Hold on to your hats because this next part is a doozy. Mr. Houston is up at bat now, swinging back with full confidence that he's not the child's father. He's not just denying it, he's got some kind of secret evidence up his sleeve that he claims will clear the whole thing up. He's as adamant as a cat on a hot tin roof about his non-involvement and is gearing up to defend his case with gusto. And his next move, it's going to knock your socks off.
She says you do nothing for Dior. Is that true?
Yes, that's correct, John. Only reason why I don't, because I feel like I wasn't gonna do nothing for the baby until I found out he was mine. Me and Dawn, we've been knowing each other since we was kids. I went to Detroit, came back, I met her. She was going through her little situation with her boyfriend.
What unfolds next is crucial to understanding their soap opera-worthy history. Mr. Houston dives into a backstory of his relationship with Ms. Crowley, covering their long history and their not-so-distant encounters. He's adamant that his alibi, being out of town, is as solid as a rock, making it impossible for him to be the father. You'll want to see what Ms. Crowley has to say about this, because it's about to get spicy.
When she told me that Dior was born, there was no way it could have been my baby because I was out of town. I haven't been back in Rochester for numerous years. I wasn't gonna do nothing until we found out Dior was mine. I asked her, I told her I'd pay for a DNA test, she denied.
Ms. Crowley, Mr. Houston is saying he's doing nothing for this child because it's not his.
The tension is building like a suspense novel. Ms. Crowley accuses Mr. Houston of ducking out on his responsibilities by missing a previously scheduled DNA test. She paints him as more elusive than a greased-up Harry Houdini, which just adds more fuel to the fiery drama of figuring out who's daddy. The courtroom is about to turn into a pressure cooker.
I gave him an opportunity when I went to child support, and I did it when my baby was around 6 months, but I got the DNA test. He never showed up for it, so he's not trying to see if this is his son.
Because I was not in town.
And you tried to get the DNA, but you say he didn't show up for that and he's done nothing for the child.
Nothing. I've been taking care of him by myself, trying to go to school.
Girl been infatuated with me since we was in 8th grade.
Grab your popcorn. This confrontation is like a scene straight out of a telenovela. In a fiery exchange, Ms. Crowley and Mr. Houston hash out their past relationship dramas, each one airing their version of whether they were ever truly an item. This intense chat brings out all the personal baggage and emotional drama you could hope for in a paternity dispute. Their next evidence piece is going to be a showstopper.
In your mind, this was a relationship, Ms. Crowley.
Yeah.
I wish you were in a relationship. When I came around, she had a whole boyfriend. I was staying with her.
That wasn't my boyfriend, and he knew that I was messing with other people. That wasn't my boyfriend either.
So you were sleeping with other people during the time you were also sleeping with Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Even though you were with other men while you were with Mr. Houston, you know the exact night you conceived.
Yes.
What night is this?
March 11th.
You won't believe what's coming next. Mr. Houston rolls out a calendar as his secret weapon, showing off dates that he claims will prove he was out of state when Dior was conceived. This calendar is like his magic trick, meant to vanish the timeline Ms. Crowley has laid out. And then, just when you think you've seen it all, there's a twist that will flip the script.
I was out of town, yes. I was
on March 21st.
Yes, ma'am. I got to Rochester the 23rd because I caught the Greyhound. I left on the 22nd.
On this particular calendar, it shows you met Ms. Crowley, you say on April 13th?
That's when we had sex.
That's when you had sex?
Yes, ma'am.
Things just got real interesting. The court is all ears as they learn about Mr. Houston's medical condition, which could mean his swimmers might not be up to the task. This scientific curveball adds a whole new layer to his defense, suggesting maybe he couldn't be the dad, even if he was in town. But don't go anywhere. The DNA test results are about to drop a bombshell.
Latex don't irritate me.
Unprotected sex. She said
Why were you then having unprotected sex with Miss Crowley when you thought she had a boyfriend?
No, I only had unprotected sex with Dawn the night when on April 13th, we had a block party. We stayed right around the corner from my mother's house. When we had the block party, we was all drinking. Me and Dawn, we did our 1-2 without a condom.
I don't know anything about this block party because I didn't go. I don't know what he's talking about.
This is the moment everyone's been waiting for, folks. The DNA test results are finally unveiled, and boom.
Mr. Houston, you are Dior's father. The first thing out of your mouth when I said you are the father is exactly what I want to hear. Okay. What did you say?
Can I see the baby?
Mr. Whistler's deep in the financial muck, right? He's chatting about how he's slapped with a whopping $21,000 in child support garnishments for a kid he's pretty sure isn't even his. The dude's basically living on scraps here, winding up with a meager $70 each week after they've done raiding his paycheck. Talk about a tight budget.
Mr. Whistler, you claim you currently owe almost $21,000 in back child support
Your Honor.
For the defendant's son, a young man you believe may not be yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say your paycheck is garnished each week week, leaving you only $70.
Picture this scene in court. Mr. Whistler is up there, throwing down some serious doubts about being a dad because, according to his doctors, he's supposed to be shooting blanks. He spills the beans about his initial freakout when Ms. Frazier hit him with the pregnancy news back in late 2005. Yep, it's as messy as it sounds.
Once and for all, I've been waiting 18 years.
Well, tell me why you doubt paternity.
Because we were in a relationship. Late 2005, tells me she's pregnant. And I always ask her, are you for sure it is mine?
You had doubts from the beginning.
Yes, ma'am. I had a torsion. That, the doctor said right there, no, you're unable to have children.
Now, hold up for the juicy part. Ms. Frazier drops a bombshell during this heated chat. She admits there's another guy who might actually be the daddy. And guess what? She's been keeping his name on all the important docs all along, hinting she's been unsure about Mr. Whistler's daddy status from the get-go. Drama alert.
And you found out you were pregnant. Did you tell Mr. Whistler it was his child?
I told him I was pregnant, and he told me it wasn't his.
And the other guy that you say you always put his name on all paperwork.
All the paperwork.
What about the birth certificate?
You wanted him to have your last name.
You told me if I wanted that kid to have my last name, and I wanted to claim him, I would be there for the birth.
Yeah.
And I was there.
That's why it's your last name.
Things are heating up. Mr. Whistler whips out some paperwork for Judge Lake, showing off a letter from child enforcement that's screaming he's way behind on child support payments. This guy's financial soap opera is nothing short of a daytime Emmy nominee. Seriously, it's like his wallet's on life support.
Mr. Whistler, what is the evidence you keep holding up? May I see that, please?
A letter I received from the child enforcement of the state of Missouri just about 2 weeks ago, Your Honor.
But they're not giving it to me.
And, that just don't add up.
This letter from the state of Missouri indicates total past due support $20,850.
Yes, Your Honor.
56 cents.
Already on this child.
And then, boom, plot twist. Mr. Whistler tells a sob story about how he signed the birth certificate, totally convinced he was the pops. But oh snap, about half a year later, he finds out there might be another contender for Daddy of the Year. Too bad he'd already signed on the dotted line. Timing is everything, folks.
You signed the birth certificate willingly.
Yes, I was under the impression that I could have been the only person that could have been this child's father.
You signed that birth certificate because you believe at that time it was your child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because that's what Miss Frazier told you, and never told you there was the other person.
Yes, Your Honor.
After the child was already here.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you had already signed the birth certificate.
Yes, Your Honor.
Fast forward a few awkward years, and the courtroom drama peaks. The DNA results are finally in, and guess what?
When it comes to the paternity of Mr. Dallas Whistler, Mr. Whistler, you are not his father.
Dallas, that still is not going to change my love for you and wanting to spend time with you.
The case Lockridge versus Tidwell kicks off with a bang as the courtroom clerk sets the stage. The introduction is nothing short of a blockbuster opener, laying the groundwork for a high-stakes paternity drama over Little King, a 10-month-old caught in the middle of a legal tug-of-war. Grab your popcorn because this is just the beginning.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
This is a case of Lockridge v. Tidwell.
Thank you, Ron. Good day, everyone. Ms. Lockridge, you've dragged the defendant, Mr. Tidwell, to court because he has refused to acknowledge your 10-month-old son, King. You are 100% sure he's the father and claim today's results will prove your case.
You think reality TV is dramatic? Watch this. Miss Lockridge throws down the gauntlet, accusing Mr. Tidwell of bailing on their baby boy, King. She's dead set on proving he's the daddy, and her fierce determination lights up the courtroom. The emotional stakes are sky high, and trust me, you'll want to stick around to see how Mr. Tidwell handles this hot potato.
You say you were never in a serious relationship with Miss Lockridge, and you were stunned when she told you she was pregnant. The timing leads you to suspect that baby King's father must be another man. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more soap opera-like, enter Mr. Tidwell with a plot twist. He claims shock and awe at the pregnancy news and hints that Miss Lockridge might have other visitors to her love nest. The timing of her announcement has him raising eyebrows and suspicions. What's next? Oh, it's a doozy.
The only time he's actually seen my son is when I've made it a convenience for him and brought him to him. That means traveling 4 hours on bus, driving 2 hours on the car to drive to him. He hasn't helped with diapers. He barely helped with any clothes. It's frustrating. He named my son King, and how am I supposed to raise a king and he's not there?
Cue the violins because Miss Lockridge's tale of solo parenting will tug at your heartstrings. She lays out the tough reality of raising King without any help from Mr. Suspected Daddy Tidwell. It's a roller coaster of emotions, and she's riding it solo. Don't go anywhere. The drama level is about to explode.
You named him King, Mr. Tidwell?
Yes, Your Honor.
But you don't have a relationship with him?
Nope, because, Your Honor, I think she's more wants me to be the dad than she
She really believes I'm the dad. She's obsessed with me, and she's done a
Obsessed
lot of
with
different
you.
things to make me feel like I'm not the father. She's left town. She's left me with the baby for weeks.
As if the emotional roller coaster wasn't enough, Mr. Tidwell cranks it up a notch by labeling Miss Lockridge as obsessed with him. The courtroom turns into a scene straight out of a dramatic thriller, with accusations flying like popcorn kernels in hot oil. You'll be on the edge of your seat wondering what bombshell will drop next.
She has other men around.
But you named the child.
She gave me the right to do that. She talked to me. I wasn't there at the birth. She only called me when she had the baby.
So take me back to this relationship. I want to understand all
There
this.
was no relationship.
Just, what, casual sex?
Yes.
We were on and off for 6 years. We were together for my understanding, how he led me to believe I was single or I was with him in a committed relationship. I was my side, my personal opinion. We were together for a year.
Plot twist. Mr. Tidwell plays the casual fling card hard, suggesting their flings were as casual as jeans and a t-shirt. He's all about denying any serious ties that might pin him down as a dad, but don't get too comfy. There's more twisty turmoil ahead.
She came over to my house. We hung out. The next day, I see a piece of paper on my bed. I grab it. I looked at it. It was a note with an ultrasound in it. It said that she didn't know how to tell me this, and she's sorry she had to tell me like that.
So that's 1 week after you had sex with her, he left you a note.
Yes.
That's a lot.
Miss Lockridge isn't holding back. She recounts the lonely journey of her pregnancy and King's birth, all done solo. Mr. Tidwell's absentee bingo card is full, and Miss Lockridge is calling him out. Keep your tissues handy, but also brace for a sudden turn in this emotional saga.
Let's go forward to the pregnancy. During that time, is he participating at all?
Not at all. Not at all. He didn't care about, I texted him when I was every doctor's appointment, all my weight gains, the weight changes. I even sent him voice recordings of the heartbeat. When I had my son, I was in labor for 36 hours, completely by myself, to the point where the nurse that was with me, she had to call the doctor and ask the doctor if she could stay with me.
Things heat up with a fiery exchange over a supposed parental handoff gone wrong. Miss Lockridge accuses Mr. Tidwell of dropping the dad ball while she was out of state. It's a he said, she said showdown with a spicy dash of mistrust and responsibility questions. The next twist is a real jaw-dropper.
She had a modeling job, just all of a sudden just jumps up and leaves this baby with us. We took care of the baby at that time.
I call her, I'm like, when are you coming back? Like, I have stuff to do too. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, boom, she was there to pick him up with some guy.
Because you threatened to take my son. I was in Nevada doing a photo shoot
and I don't hear from
and hanging out with my cousin.
I don't hear
she
from
was
her for
fixing
2
to have her
weeks.
baby. I can give you the proof of the
Paid
photo.
at a modeling job? You said you
Sure
getting paid to model.
Sure do.
The tension is thicker than a bowl of oatmeal as everyone waits for the DNA results.
Mr. Tidwell, you are not his father.
Are you kidding me?
I messed up, man.
I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry.
We're all here. We're all here.
Juliana, I'm here with you. I'm not gonna. Okay?